Leenock and BC and Frisian Marshes all in one game. That's right. Practice begins now. Big deal. Got to make sure you're prepped for this. It's a big part of the road to Wallalol legacy now. As we have added Frisian Marshes in as the home map for best of threes and best of fives this weekend. Need to get to grips with it. And what a two defined scrimming with each other on this map. Leenock and Beastie going at it. This one should be a fun one. Especially considering that Beastie went for the HRE and Leenock went for the French. So you've got an aggressive Civ and you've got an eco-boomy Civ. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Leenock decides to stick his hand in the cookie jar. Because you can. Multi-TCs, we've seen how powerful it can be on this map when you drop them around these fishing spots. And the French is definitely a Civ that can utilize that quite well. And the funny part to me is actually that on the other side, Beastie is unlikely to make that play because he doesn't like the multi-TC build. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen him go multi-CC as HRE. I definitely have to go months back at this point. So instead, he'll be looking to play for that quick castle into Imperial, which will enable him a later timing, but could leave you somewhat susceptible to raids in the mid-interim from a Civ like the French. I think Leenock, has he actually grinded back up to the top 10? I don't think I need to explain these guys to you via rankings. You guys already know who Leenock is. Really skilled individuals. Quite funny as well, actually, because both of these players, of course, are qualified. They qualified on the same event, N4C. So them playing in the Road to Wallalol Legacy, it's actually quite nice to see them just practicing the maps, even though, from a qualification standpoint, that's not the purpose it serves. Of course, these guys want to win. They want to be prepped. Even though they're only playing for a little bit of money, instead of playing for a very valuable slot at the biggest land that Age of Empires 4 is going to have, they still take it seriously. They still want to come prepared. And I wonder if this was I wonder if they both just said, let's pick the Civ we think is going to work best here. Leenock does quite like his French on maps that he thinks is openly exploitable. It's kind of curious to me that he picked it here because in some ways, the French can exploit the mid-map in terms of if people play onto the fish. I'm just not wholly convinced that Beastie's going to do that. I think he's going to play very safe at home until this castle, at which point he should be able to get guards in place if he does need to go out to the shoreline fish. Let's see, Ark and Chapel opener, as expected. Beastie, always true to form. Minework Palace sucks. Mega dongle in his eyes, so he's never going to go for it. Decent amount of sheep as well, so he won't run out anytime soon here. Goldenwood is going to be nicely covered. And to be honest, there's enough food here to get him pretty damn far. In fact, if we look at the count, he's got 6 sheep alive. I wish there's a way to double-click carcasses. That looks like 6 more carcasses to me. So that should float him right. He's got I think there's at least 2,000 food here, probably 2,500. And then he's got the berry bush afterwards. So he actually could make his way up into Imperial if he rushes it and isn't pressured. But whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a sec. Whoa. No. My brain ain't ready for this. Hold on a second. Beastie is getting stoned as the HRE at the start of the game. What is happening right now? Is he going to outpost rush? I think he's going to outpost rush. It can't be TCs because he never does double TCs HRE. Yo, by the way, we didn't talk about the gold spawns yet. We were worried that, I wanted to point out that I'd seen them to the side before because the games we watched so far, the gold was always spawning ahead. But you can see this is very dynamic. Look at the way the gold spawned here. It's at the back side. I like this. The reason this is important is because one of my issues when I was looking at these maps, and for any content creators trying to create custom maps they want to see used in competitive, take notes because this is very important. This is part of my criteria why I might veto you with all my power if you try to get one pass. And I think a lot of players would agree with this as well. Some of the maps were predictably spawning the gold at the front of the base every time. The reason that is a problem is it makes your layout predictable to a point that certain cheesy strategies become the de facto way to win games. Most notable one was the English Man-at-Arms rush. We didn't see any of the pros use it in the show matches, but I saw the layout, and I was like, this could 100% just be rushed by English man-at-arms. And doing so would shut down someone's game before they even reach feudal. So I think that's why this type of variable is very important. This element of unpredictedness to the game means that an opponent can't just instantly wipe you out with like a very aggressive civ that can cheese your gold, right? We're thinking Mongol outpost rushes. We're thinking man-at-arms rush from English. These type of things can just block you out before you can even access feudal. And if you can't access feudal, with most civs, you can't even play the game. In fact, that's always a weird one to me. And I don't know if we do start having issues around this type of cheesy rushes, it might be something that needs to change. It's kind of weird to me that Marketplace is locked behind feudal for that reason. I think that's another, like, the more I think about it, I think that is another reason why outpost spamming is so powerful. Like, the stats are great, obviously, but on top of that, when you do it that early in the game, you know your opponent has to get rid of them or they can't get resources. That they need to get access to the building that lets them trade resources. Lino. Nice charge in. Not enough room in this fin for everyone. Heavy damage being done, but not enough to finish any off. So unfortunately for Lino there, doesn't get value out of the first night. But he's starting to arrive with archers already. Lenok has revealed his hand incredibly early in this game. That's an interesting choice. I'm wondering what the thought process was for Lee to actually push an archer already. Yeah, okay, there we go. I was about to say, unless he wants to do rams, but you're doing rams against HRE, which can be very, very dangerous. And it looks like in the end, BC's intent was just to get the arrow slits upgrade. Kind of an interesting choice overall. Most people will just accept to have like the static defenses that you can garrison in this situation. I wonder what the thought process was for valuing this so highly. I mean, you invested 50 wood, spent 2 villagers over here, a lot of idle time running back. I guess he made up for it by getting the mill as well. It's kind of peculiar. Less peculiar is this. Burgrave Palace and Blacksmith being prepped alongside each other. Beastie getting ready to break out soon. Lenok might not be ready for it yet. In fact, Lenok looks probably overexposed to this right now. I think the ram commitment is a bit too much. It reveals a lot about what you want to do and now what your timings are. So now if BC's able to survive this, which is the HRE, like 1 or 2 rams it's quite easy to defend against, then Lenok is miles behind because your HRE and your opponent decide to go early aggression instead of investing in scalability. Kind of feels like Lenok has been experiencing too many games against Kasva, and he felt this instinctual need to build a ram, even though there was no need to build a ram. This isn't targeted at the player names, by the way, or anything like that. Like, if you took the players away and you just shoot me HRE French, and you told me the French player was building a ram 8 minutes into the game, I would think that he's rushing too fast. Because it's very hard to breach the HRE base due to emergency repairs. They can just offset a lot of the early aggression of 1 ram. You want to be at a point where you can build 2, 3, possibly 4, because then you can put a dent in. Then you can shift around quick enough and you can delete buildings fast enough that emergency repairs can't come off cooldown in time. There we go. Burgrave units being pushed out. Man-at-arms starting to stack up. Only early man-at-arms right now. Villagers are going to pull back as the knights chase after them. No spearmen coming out from Beastie. He's just going to use man-at-arms to protect himself. These knights are not going to find any value. E-repairs there to slow down the Rams' assault. And here we are. Exhibit 1. Evidence log 1. The issue with going for ram rushes against the HRE and why it does not work. Respect the emergency repairs, folks. Now, there are ways in which you can do this, and it's a good idea. The most notable one that Lenok could be doing right now to make this worthwhile is to be building a TC out here. And then he'd be basically fading aggression and putting up this kind of face value show, right, of I am going to kill you, so that BC can't get out of his base. And it means that Lenok can play midfield without aggression onto him. And BC, although he might suspect it, cannot confirm it or find out where it is because he's too busy dealing with the aggression into his base. But Lenok isn't doing that. He's floating a lot of wood, no stone. It's just going to be ram investments, and ram investments are just not going to work here. Man-at-arms count is increasing. Archer Battalion is not threatening, and these big boys are getting more threatening. You can see they've got their hands on their heavy damage increase now. These knights will die quite fast with the maces to the face. Beastie pressure is relinquished from his base right now. Man-at-arms playing the midfield. Bonus damage starting to come out against the French Knights. You can see how that damage adds up fast. Trying to micro them away, but he can't get out of range quick enough. And sticking on top of you, like, you got to keep in mind, if you get a 2-for-1er, it's worthwhile with these man-at-arms. Because the price of these French Knights is double that of what the HRE is pushing here. Heavy damage into both of these Knights now. Beastie maybe wants to reset, stack up a few man-at-arms before pushing out. This is not actually trading efficiently right now, but Lennox starting to take heavy damage. Losing effective HP as well as DPS output because he can't keep the injured Knights on the front line anymore. Speaking of the front line, this eco department is becoming exactly that. Beastie with 5 man-at-arms is looking quite scary right now. Chase him once more. Prelate. Oh, he gets him, that's big. And that's annoying for Beastie because if he wants to keep up this push of man-at-arms, if he wants to overwhelm, he's going to need the gathering rate of an extra 40%. That being said, man-at-arms count is getting pretty damn healthy right now. Lennox, although he's on Shoreline Fish, still no signs of playing into TC, and Beastie wrapped around with 2 of these man-at-arms. No textiles either. And even if you don't kill Lennox civvies here, if you find them, if you push them off and he sees them, that's going to be a lot of idle eco. 10 villages not working on a resource you desperately need right now, but it looks like Beastie is distracted in the stealth forest right now. He hasn't realized it. He went a little bit too deep. He'll keep chasing on the archers in the meantime. But if he turns around and heads north, Lennox flatlines. He won't be able to sustain this. And he's turned around. And instantly, Lennox's reaction is to go on the berry bush line, so he'll keep himself alive, but it's less efficient. And it's still going to flatline him somewhat, because if you look at the count right now, like, Lennox has a lot of troops in the field, but they're displaced, and he's going to struggle to build them up further at this rate. Man-at-arms willing to take those trades against the Knights. Look at the damage going out. Pulls back just in time. Beastie very content with the state of affairs right now because he gets the breathing room he needs. The question mark is now, what does he do? Does he look to boom up? Can he actually get enough resources back at home to get Imperial Age? If he does, can it be punished by Lennox? I think it might be difficult. As long as Beastie doesn't lose the 12 man-at-arms, I don't know if Lennox can actually punish him for a tech up. Oh, that charge forces a lot of attention elsewhere. Laren himself doesn't want to give over the full maximum value here as the man-at-arms ready to force the Knights to trip over each other as they chase in. Trade out, not looking great for Beastie right now. He's at least going to get 1 or 2 Knights, but this can be the problematic scenario when you don't bring enough MAAs to surround. The Knights, they can mic her out. They can pull back the injured ones, and they can just look to reset and make sure you're always hitting something with full HP. Variable that man-at-arms don't have themselves. Small contingent, so Beastie, he really is just trying to buy his way through this. Shoreline Fish being accessed now, as he ran out of food. Farm transition begins, but I think you may have sacrificed a little bit too much here, Beastie. Outpost is at least going to delay the assault. Man-at-arms starting to rebuild again, but it's very difficult for him to keep up with the demand right now. Relics are at least being gathered, so in that regard, like, it's reasonable to make this play in that you're going to be able to actually grab these relics. And something to point out is this is another spawn where we only got 4 relics. I have a feeling that players are going to have something to say about this. Hopefully it's a nice variety and they like it. They're going to crucify me. Oh. Can't kill me if they're too busy killing each other, right? Lennox definitely looking to kill Beastie here. Man-at-arms count back up to 12, but I think you missed the mark here. I think that throwaway 12 man-at-arms may have killed Beastie's scalability. He didn't get a good trade. If he pulled them back, he could have been up to 24 man-at-arms now, which would have been a big deal. Instead, forced to take a fight now. Rushing in, chasing off the archers, turns around the Knights. Lennox not paying attention, will finally engage. Doesn't get a charge out, so no bonus damage for him. This could be the good trade that Beastie's been looking for. Finally, something goes his way. Spears in the mixer as well. The bonus damage starting to stack up. Lenok with heavy losses here. Tries to target down the Spearman. The value maintained here. Like the knight count has been shredded down to about 5 at the end of this. Possibly even 4. So 10 knights lost, a few archers as well. A heavy loss for Beastie, but it resets Lenok's army count in a way that will not allow him to now dive afterwards or build into rams. This is far too risky. Only 4 knights remain. Folks, that is as good as it gets. Lenok was not paying attention. It shows you exactly what can happen if you do not pay attention for just 5 seconds. The fact that he ran in, didn't get the charge out, is why that fight was so decisive. If Lenok had charged that line of man-at-arms and got his bonus damage for 5 seconds, you've still got 7, 8, probably 9 knights remaining here. That being said, it's not the end of the road for Lenok because he reinforces back up to 12. Beastie, plenty of gold to work with. Food. Putting quite the strain on him, though. Military count. Baby levels right now. Ram, in the meantime, moving in on the extended area. Sprint upgrades plus the villagers should be enough to get the Ram away, though. And that's going to be a costly loss of 300 wood for nothing gained for Lenok. Beastie will pull back just in time. Only 43 health left. Oh, the final shot gets him. So that's a waste of 300 wood. You can see Lenok getting a little bit too greedy, trusting that a ram can do it on its own. And gets an important lesson in how it cannot. Farm raid. Beastie forced to garrison here. Worst case scenario as well, look at his food. He needs a lot more troops. He can't afford idle time on his farmlands. Woodline's in trouble as well. Woodline not pulling back. Lenok's going to force him to do so. Man-at-arms. Once again, forced to engage here. The count looking very good for Lenok, but the spear's now pushing out. Lee needs to be careful. Against the man-at-arms, he can take good trades. Against the spearman, the bonus damage is too high. And because he's diving past the TC, the archers can't join him. So need to be careful about that approach. Because I think the last fight you get away with because you have a second line incoming. If you lost the troops there, like if you hard commit and the spearmen come into you there, and you go down to 4 or 5 knights, I don't feel like you can recover again to the same count. And it might allow the wiggle room for Beastie to rebuild. Beastie, who, by the way, still has a ridiculous surplus of gold, but has not built a marketplace still. This might be his downfall, actually. He's floating a lot of gold. He's got 2 relics, so 200 gold per minute passively. I would say it's worth building a marketplace for like free trades into food. Oh god. Oh god. Knights, knights! Only 1 outpost as well. And even the pullback here, even if Beastie survives, the bigger problem is now his food. Weirdly enough, he hangs around. He goes back to gathering, expecting Lenok to just back away, but not before he claims 1 skull. Lee, while that's happening, he moves in, and this is costly. Yes, Lenok! This is big. This is actually really smart. A lot of players ignore these farms. You should not. These rams get insane trade value by doing this. Each of these farms is 75 wood, and as you can see, die in 2 hits to rams. This means if you just get rid of 4 of these farms, which is quite feasible for a ram, unless it gets torched from start to finish, you've made an equal trade. That's why he's going for them, because it's also going to shut down the food supply of Beastie, forcing him to rebuild once more. Outposts at home, trying to keep Beastie alive. The Spiral defense line is starting to stack up, but so many exposed farms out here. Heavy losses for Beastie again. You see the income numbers just sinking. The surplus of food is never building, and the deer are going to keep him alive for a little while, but that's a limited resource. The farms was your unlimited solution. They're drying up fast. And arms. Actually not looking, as he doesn't want to commit into the Spiral defenses right now. Might have to if he wants to deny this. And Lenok, after all this aggression, is finally ready to castle up. And when he does, his position is a lot stronger than Beastie's. Beastie forced to take a fight again. Langsneck coming out. The problem is they don't live long enough. Archers target him down. The man-at-arms are going to be wiped up. Wiped out. And the ram goes back to work on the farms again. I think he had, I want to say 14 farms. He's down to 4. About to be down to 4. And his deer are not going to last long. He has got the shoreline fish still, so that's good. But I don't think he gets more villagers out here at any stage, which is bad. Wait, what? Casticus. Okay, that's actually a big deal. BC snuck out 11 villages, and I don't think that ever got noticed by Lenok. He can reinflate his economy off the back of this. And this is interesting because Lenok is more likely to dive if he thinks that BC only has this food line. With limited farms and only this deer, BC looks weak, and Lenok is willing to dive past Springwood Outpost to try and keep him shut down, because in his mind, it means that BC can't rebuild an army, and although Lenok is going to lose army to do this, he can keep building. Oh my god. That might be the saving grace for Beastie. It's only berries right now, mind you, which is surprising to me. I'm wondering why he went onto the berries instead of onto the shoreline fish. So I know someone astutely decided to do the maths and point out that like the rams didn't pay off because they cost 900 wood, but there was like, you know, they got through 13 farms. Or rather, wait, what are you on about? If that was the maths, they did pay off because 75 wood each. But even if they killed only say 10 or 6 or whatever, like you have to equate the cost of idle eco for BC as well. BC lost a lot there. In terms of not only the farms themselves, which had to rebuild for 75 wood each, but the idle time on units under his Archon Chapel. That was a big loss to his eco. That's why it's a good trade for Lenok. Keeps up the aggression and overwhelms here. Once again with the dive in. And look at Lenok. He's spreading everywhere. The Lenoctopus, a marvelous creature, always seen for its military aggression, is never really given recognition for its ability to wiggle around the restaurant and take food off of everyone's plate. But that's exactly what Lenok is doing here, as he is in every pond imaginable. And that on the income side is keeping him ahead of the HRE. Whew. Well, okay, maybe the 26 eco lead adds up as well, but let's keep in mind, like, he's got golden wood ahead as well. And now the siege to make sure that he puts an end to Beastie. And this is going to force BC to fight, whether he's ready or not. I like the Langsneck push. I think this is his best opportunity. He needs to make sure that the Spearmen brunt the initial assault. And the cool thing is actually the Spearmen can brace. So if the Knights get caught in a brace against the Spears, they're going to get stunned and rooted for about 2 seconds total. That's enough time for Langsneck to move in and get 2 cleaves out. And it'll make it a worthwhile trade. Moving out in the meantime. Torches down the outpost. One more hurl. Brace, 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 brace. Lenok unwilling to commit. For damn good reason there, because he knows BC could be baiting him. BC stops the outpost going up, buys a little bit more time. Spearman count up to 14. Archer count pretty low, only 11. The chase out underway. BC needs to be careful about that. Loses 2 Langsneck, that's pricey. Look at that right there, 160 resources each, taken out that easily. In a situation where you have very limited resource. That's why he pushes the man-at-arms first. Man-at-arms struggle to gap close here. Villagers, uh-oh. That's more dead. The eco count now, a 30-point lead for Lenok. Folks, I would like to point out that that 30 eco lead, that 30 villager lead is off 1 TC as French. Now, that does mean you build villagers faster with each age up, but that's 1 TC. We are 23 minutes into the game, and that equates to about a 30-point lead. That is not normal. Oh, but this small contingent could be big. The fact that Beastie found the surplus to push just 2 units out here, it doesn't seem like much, but it's adding up. It's shrinking the count. Lenok finally notices. Without textiles, you can't even try to get the shivs out and fight, not against the man-at-arms. That's going to cause idle eco. And I think that Beastie knows there's more around here. He suspects, and if he finds it, like, he can shut down additional eco. Lenok does at least have surplus, but it does mean that his eco count is shrinking, right? The villages are being brought down to the realm of reasonable. There it is, he finds another line. Oh my god, if he looks north, like, the fact is you don't even need to kill them. The idle time alone is giving you a way back into this game. I'm starting to wonder if Beastie can do it. But it's getting hard to believe, especially with the Treb count soon to go up to 3. These outposts that were such a thorn in Lenok's side won't be anymore. The sprint replacements count for nothing when it's a pile of rubble on the floor. Okay, you know, I wouldn't even say I was at cast a curse at point. It was really, come on. Fate, karma, whatever the hell does this to us, like, this wasn't a cast a curse. I said, is there an opportunity? The answer is clearly now no. The night count is up to 29. Trebs starting to assault hard here. Torches coming out from the Knights as well, outdoing the emergency repairs. It finally runs out, but he forces the fight with the man-at-arms. Spearman trying to for the backstab. That could be big if you can get through this line of Knights, but they back up. Will not give the value over. Archers pick him apart as he retreats. Trebuchet's now having access to the primary TC. They can even look to target the house to deny any reproduction for Beastie, any replacement of lost troops. Maganel now coming out. This is do or die. This could be big, but one Maganel alone will not be good enough. The surround, he tries to spread out to hold the line, but this is not a Toto sign. This is not a Toto song, rather. This is the end of the line for Beastie, because that is an absolute rout. The entire force is obliterated. Over 20 military force left to go aggressive. Maganel exposed. Trebuchet target in. GG gets called. Lenok. What a way to do this as well. Boxing Beastie in and punishing him. Well, looks like Lenok and Beastie are hard at work, continuing to scrim against each other in practice for the new custom map that has been added. The first custom map, in fact, to be added to competitive Age of Empires 4. Let's hop in to more Frisian Marshes, where we've got two different civs again. This time, it is going to be the Mongols and the English. And this is a bit weird now. I'm going to have to talk to Adney. Something's gone wrong in the way that the generation's working. At first, I thought the 4 relic was a intentional spawn occasionally with a balanced 2-2, but it looks like one relic is sometimes just not spawning at all. By the layout, anyway, because like you can see that there's one right next to BC's base, but there's one missing from Lennox. That's a bit weird. All right, I'll have to talk to him and talk to E2C maybe. I mean, I don't think we're going to pull the map at all. I hope it's not that big of a problem, especially considering like as we get later into the runnings, that we should be using seeded maps, so we'll be able to choose which ones are good or bad. But that is a very big oversight, an awkward oversight of that. Everything else at least looks balanced. Wood lines are fair. Deer is relatively fair. The amount of fish available is actually really, really balanced quite nicely. Just 1 pond difference. And then, of course, the boars are situated in similar locations. So most of this shouldn't be impacted. The relic could be a little bit annoying, though. We'll see if that comes into play. As we're going to get into some English versus Mongols. Now, Mongols really wasn't a civ I was considering as a serious pick on this map. Just because I feel like most of the time the gold and wood lines don't join up. At least not out of the spawns I've seen or can recall watching so far. Interesting choice by Lenok to go into this, though. Has got the Fort Uvu, as he would always be required to do so. I think stone primarily most of the time is either south of your base or ahead of it. But missed opportunity to get a really good gold wood line over here that would have also given the Uvu. Actually, he's got to be kicking himself right now. That would have been phenomenal for Lenok, but admittedly, probably a little bit too far to go idle without villager production. Had he packed it here originally, though, oh my god, the gold, the stone, the wood, mwah. Instead, we'll just have to play with the Gur loose here. So heavy investment of 100 wood, just required. As usually you are, in fairness. In a lot of these situations, we regularly see Mongols having to do this early on. Doesn't slow him down, though. Still have those aggressive timings, and we have to see if he plays into those aggressive timings. As he does have the option to go for the outpost rush. Less likely to do so, mind you, as when you do go for that play, it involves getting the racks, and that would involve spamming Spearmen against England. And if there's one thing us English do well, we be longbows. Not just us, but the short bows on our villages as well can make it a pain in the ass to try and set up. So, just not going to expect that cheesy opening necessarily out of Lenok. He'll try to play us a lot safer. Another thing that I think is kind of interesting, different than the Mongols, is that I feel like they're less inclined to exploit the fish on this map, simply because they don't TC boom often. At least not until like 15 minutes plus. And then on top of that, by then they've usually set up a line of pastures, so they don't really want to move out from their primary TC. Yeah, I'm wondering if Mongols might not be the most desirable civ on this map. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully BC can surprise us. Quick tech up into feudal. Timing should be slightly better than BC, as he's only got 2 people building up his council hall. But he is going... Hold on. Is he going for multi-TC? 4 people on stone is borderline I like TCs. I think we might be getting multi-TC opening out of BC for England. I like it. Like, I think there's good maps for it, and this could be one of them. You're pretty condensed. You're hard to raid. And I think if Lenok tries to raid, he's going to be humongously disappointed when he reaches this base and sees how hard it is to get in. Scout in the meantime, getting the layout, understands the state of affairs here, sees the stable that Lenok's now packing up to move out towards the Uvu. Now, it could be the Lenok just looking for mid-map control, but the funny part is, like, in this situation, I don't think BC was ever going to contest him there. I'm pretty sure he's just going to stay at home at all times. Like, this is definitely 2 TCs. He's gathered way too much stone for it to be outposts, and he got in there way too early for it to be outposts. The TC. Know some people confused about what this map is. This map is Frisian Marshes. Damn it, I've been around Lidicor too much. Frisian Marshes. It is a custom map. It is the first custom map to be added to the Age of Empires 4 competitive scene. It'll be featuring in Red Bull Wololo, or the road to Red Bull Wololo rather, this weekend. And I imagine if it's popular and it catches on, maybe we even see it on land later this year. Scouts moving out. We'll see the stable. Whoa. Oh, what? Did Lenok misclick? Oh, Lenok misclicked. Oh, wait. I don't think he had a choice. I think he got blocked by the scouts. Definitely something went wrong there. You don't build a stable and build a horseman like that when you can get double production. He'll move in to fix that now, but that's going to delay his timing slightly, and that's going to allow the TC boom to go for free. BC can't be interrupted or intercepted. Uh-oh. Interesting choice as well. I wondered where he'd play. If he played towards the south side, like here, this would have been remarkable for a food value. But instead, like, you're playing England. The value of shoreline fish isn't that great in comparison to farms. Remember that with the English, at this stage in the game, in feudal, you get 20% increased gathering rates on farms that are next to mills, and farms gather at 0.75 food. So with that 20% increase, you're already up to the gathering rate of a boar. An extra 0.1 for the risk that is associated with going for fish isn't worth it for an English player. They'd rather play safe and play condensed. He's definitely got plenty of wood to allow for that style as well. And I know some people are probably going to have the concerns like, well, doesn't that sound like an issue? Like, one civ can just blatantly ignore fish, which is meant to be an empowering point in this map. I don't think so. I think it's fine. I actually think that the defensive wood lines, the way that this is like congested in the corner, balances out nicely between civs like the English and then other civs like the French that are likely to use these ponds more often. Because it allows those civs that are going out to the midfield to keep up the English boom rate. And at the same time, the English aren't just outright exploited if they go for like an eco build like they always are in other maps. I don't think this is going to make England overpowered on Frisian, by the way. I think there's other civs that have a lot of strengths. And just to re-highlight, like one of my assessment points when I was going through this, when I was like breaking down the maps and how it was going to be fair, I felt like practically every civ in the game had an upside, had something that they could utilize. And that's what I liked. I liked the idea of unlocking everyone's potential to do something instead of us being in the situation that we are quite often at the moment where we say, oh, well, this map here, like, oh, Hy-Vee, you can't play this civ. Oh, we're going into Dry Arabia now. 100% wouldn't advise you pick Y civ. And while I do expect there to be powerful civs emerging, one, that's going to take time, and two, it's going to take experimentation. It's the same as when a dev designs something and then a player finds a way to exploit it. Until you've got enough data, it's very hard to tell whether something is OP or unfairly skewed in favor of X or Y. Villager pull from BC. Trying to deal with this outpost. Arislit's upgrade did come through, and this is going to cost him. And the Horseman joined in as well. This is going to cost him a lot, actually. Lenok, 28 eco. BC built up a 5-point lead. He's going to be throwing away a lot of that just to get through the outpost. I think he's done this prematurely. No, he's just kind of in for a penny, in for a pound. He will be able to get through at the end. Runs away as it is now on fire. But all of a sudden, that eco lead he built up, almost completely gone. Some interesting questions around the upside for the Abbasids. Berries are usually situated quite close to your TC. You can see they vary a little on the outside or just in front. No more dangerous than other maps. And the upside is you have defensive wood that you can easily exploit. The stone can maybe be something you have to commit to earlier, depending on the spawn, to get your secondary TC. But it's fair to say with this amount of wood, you should be able to float yourself quite comfortably early on. Now, I'm not going to say the Abbas is going to have a fantastic time, but I think I would call the Abbasids the most map-specific Civ in the game. So it's very difficult to balance towards them right now because I think they have other issues that are already inhibiting the Civ. I think that's the better way of looking at it. Like, when we had this discussion, there was an agreement, like, when I said the Abbasids maybe suffer a little bit, but the Abbasids can suffer on, like, 80% of maps right now. It's kind of like the response was, yeah, that's a fair point. So I think overall it can be an issue in the Abbasid designs, at least for early game. And they make up for it on other maps. Most notable one that comes to mind, of course, is good old Lipany, where they can get ridiculous spawns that enable them right up the wazoo. So I'm kind of okay with them not having a giant middle finger to wave at everyone all the time. But in fairness, some of the spawns I've been seeing on Frisian has shown a lot of tight berries. So sometimes they do actually get a really damn good spawn. Archers. Ooh. Backstepping. Tech up out from Leenock first. But Beastie, notice that he's not far behind. Leenock has to be fast with this. Horsemen have been absolute pain in the arse of Beastie. Cost him heavily on his eco boom attempt. But he should be able to eco boom further soon. King's Pass should be the logical choice here. That will give him free TC effective. Needs to make sure he's pushing some spearmen though, just for those lances that you know are probably coming. Awesome. Oh, villagers. Pull, whoop, whoop, whoop. Turn and fight. Turn and fight. Get him, lads. That'll teach him to dive with naked horsemen. Take out another one. Khan is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. No textiles coming out from BC. Will cost him 1 or 2 villages, but he needs the food. He just needs to get there, and he needs to get there fast. One interesting difference to the way BC's played this is kind of actually surprising as well. We are 11 minutes into the game, and BC has no farms. I think we can confirm he's not a vegetarian. We'll ignore the berries. This is very much a mutton-heavy diet that we've seen out of Beastie. Now the King's Pass. Leenock isn't even moving the calm right now. He's too busy microing the Lancers through. Lancers that might get some value here. Villagers pull back perfectly timed as well. The houses will slow down any attempt to charge out. Now outpost being built up by Leenock. He's going to need the Yam speed to dive in fast. And the Khan isn't being attacked because your villagers do 5 damage each and this unit has 300 health. It's not worth the idle time to try and kill him. Unless you do it with spears. Oh, but the tech up! Okay, Spearman will be able to cover him. Beastie needs this fast, though. He can't be stuck here much longer. Like, he knows that the Lancer count is going to be increasing. In fact, second wave should be coming soon. Trebuchet already being built up by Leenock. And at this point, you commit. Even if you lose the villagers, you need to commit right now. Nice pullback. Baits him away into the Spearman. We'll be able to stab down one of those Lancers. And there it is. Castle up. Beastie finally catches up, at least in terms of age. He's miles behind in terms of aggression. And another villager pull. Oh God, the Lancer. I mean, one Lancer can get decent value, but the Spearman there to respond straight away, just in time. So outpost denied. I love how BC has no hesitation to pull villagers like this every time. A lot of players would be willing to, like, concede the berry line, for example, but not Beastie. No, he wants that. Here you go. Spear's now moving in on the Khan. The Khan. Uh-oh. 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 Yeah, where are you going? Where are you going? Screw like a piggy. He's gone. Now the villagers will attack. TC as well. Nice move there, Beastie. Always put Leenock in the corner. All right, his Khan is dead. You cool game, right? We RL now. Everyone knows when Genghis died, it all went downhill. Well, I mean, we say that, Less if his lords got burned by swallowing, like got killed by swallowing molten gold. So I guess in some ways it was a better world. It's looking like a better world in Linux space now. Full access. Could even play into double TC. I'd actually like to see that here. Unlikely though. I think BC is very confident about the state of the game despite the aggression because he hasn't seen fishing yet. Although that's because there's a stealth forest in the way. And finally, just as I say that, Lenok moves out. This is going to bolster his food eco. Time to push more lances. Blacksmith in the meantime. He's going to be kept alive because he really wants to try and buy some more time, it seems. BC will finally make the farm transition happen 14 minutes in. I don't remember the last time I said that about a player playing as the English. It's not often this Civ neglects farms past 10 minutes. Especially when they're so cheap, remember. The English, they get them for half the price. Lenok's still unassailable. That Springwood upgrade is a pain in the ass for BC, and it looks like he might lose the extension TC. Put him down to 2 TCs effective again. That will still allow him to keep building up an eco lead. Meantime, BC's like, ignore the giant rocks. They're not targeting us. Just get all we can, boys. Get all we can. Because soon, we're going to be eaten up by Lancers. Villagers will pull out on the way. Archer's moving. Man, that's kind of giving me an idea, that comment about the cars now. Like, what if we had... Like, someone needs to go make a custom game mode. Like, a true kind of regicide game mode. Like, regicide with Mongols is the most realistic thing imaginable. There you go, guys. Regicide with other countries, whoop-de-doo. But the Mongols make sense. Your Khan dies, you lose. Gigi. Building's starting to crumble fast here. I think BC has to fight, and he has to fight very soon. He's rebuilding the blacksmith. I don't know, dog. I don't think this is it, BC. I think you needed to balance the greed with the defense force a little bit stronger towards the defense. Because this trebuchet count is unanswered. The Mangonels are going to counter out any range battalion you could dream of. And he just doesn't have enough racks. You can see he's panic reacting now, but the reaction's going to be too late. King's Pass is already down. Primary TC and Council Hall is going to be exposed. The outpost spam continues. I think BC is hard stuck now. He doesn't have the gold. He needs man-at-arms in mass, but he doesn't have the gold to afford it right now. He needs a new gold line, and the gold line is nowhere near him. I think that delay is too long. I think this assault is too soon. Enough thinking, just doing. The only thing BC's going to do in this game is call GG. Lenok takes it. Opens up some Frisian with a win. Lenok is looking hot on this new map. Maybe BC can return the shellacking as he'll be the deli. Lenok, he'll be the receiver on the HRE. Let's see what we've got this time around. I wonder, can Lenok teach BC a few lessons? Or is the deli going to be just too strong? I haven't been able to show you deli so far, at least on the series on this channel, but we did actually cover a game, I believe, the deli when we were doing the show matches. And it has a lot of upside. This is the thing that I think some people are worried about, the berry situation, but you can benefit by playing out into the farms. And also, as long as you play mid-tempo aggression, which the deli are phenomenal at in the feudal age, you can do a lot of damage. So I want to see if Lenok kind of mixes things up. Will we get a quick castle? Will we get multi-TCs? Will we get a prolonged feudal engagement? And can he find a way to match the deli in that? Because the weird part about the HRE for a long time is in theory, they should be able to, right? Like, if you think about the way the Civ functions, a 40% increased gathering rate on anything you buff and inspire should get you far. But I think the issue that a lot of players have when they're playing as the HRE is they're not willing to gamble in the feudal age aggression, because once the Archon Chapel's influence is out of range, once it becomes a lot harder to actually inspire everything, your eco falls off the side of a cliff. And that's why they like to insulate themselves with Castle and Imperial ahead of time, so that when they move out of those safe holdings, they're able to replace the efficiency of their gathering rates with the vast quantity of economic gains instead. Low striker is the short. Is there shorefish on this map? There is. There are as many shorefish. For those that haven't noticed so far, if I haven't seen the Frisian Marshes, it is crammed up the wazoo with fishies. We're on the sushi diet here. Hold on a second. Did Pigeon just say sushi? Japan, next civ to be added, Pog? Okay, I'm going to stop now. So, let's see how these openings... how would you even make a Japanese civ? Like, what would be the unique angles? I know everyone's going to say samurai, but what would the samurai do different? Deflect arrows? Like, you know... but I think the issue with, like, deflect arrows, you have to give a percentage or make them activatable abilities. I don't like the idea of percentage-type things like evasions in this game. Maybe you have, like, an activatable ability called deflect arrows. I know, we're beginning to make this less realistic, but I don't care if there's any swordsman that can deflect arrows. Also, Japan makes a lot of anime where everyone deflects gunshots and arrows. That's my logic. All right, Ark Chapel build-up time. And it looks like Striker might be willing to bless us with some Frisian Marshes matches after this as well. That would definitely be appreciated so we can keep the new content going. Okay, no, he lied. All right, nobody follow Striker. No one get... Nah, we don't... Nah, you can't tease me like that. All right, I'm focused on the game now. Looking at chat just broke my heart. Oh. Look at this Ark Chapel will not break my heart. It will not break your bank either. A little bit skimmish right there. But he gets the gold, he gets the wood. I've got some people suggesting ninjas for the units that Japan should have. Maybe. I think there's some more interesting ideas we could have. Like, you could do some unique stuff with their spears. Maybe make their spears... Nah, I won't say make their spears cheaper. That's a bad idea. Yo, my boy Striker coming in with us. Up. Appreciate you, bud. Is my alerts not showing again? I'm going to have to redo that afterwards. It's weird that they're not doing that. Apologies for that. Apologies to anyone who has been spamming things. I have to keep doing this and then going back. And it's not working. Unless it did show. Some people on YouTube are watching right now. They're confused, like, what the hell is he on about? This used to be a human settlement until it got invaded by sheep. Hold on a sec. Are we sure this is not Welsh marshlands? I think this is incorrectly named, Adney. This is not Frisian Marshes. This is definitely Welsh countryside now. It's just been heavy raining, which is fitting for English weather. So, yeah, if you can just change the name, that'd be appreciated. Oh, my God, the amount. Is that like 36 sheep total on the map? That's a ridiculous quantity. God damn. Now, BC with the biggest reserves imaginable here. And this is going to fuel the war economy, folks, because you can play hard into Horseman with this. Going to make him a mighty spooky boy in this situation. And he wants to play into Horseman hard. You're up against the HRE, and they're likely to not build archers. So, like, Horsemen are somewhat discounted, but I think they still provide a value in terms of mobility. That being said, we could just get spears and archers, but I just think the value of stables is too high. Like, Horsemen give you the dynamic ability to move across the map. And you're going to want to play towards these sacred sites and be able to react at both of them, as well as finding ways to flank in. Just going spears and archers doesn't give that. For BC, it's all about, like, mid-map control to enable Castle Age naturally. And then on top of that, the Horseman can always just be this looming threat that keeps Lenok in his box. Lenok looking to not be kept there long. Triple racks. Oh, hold on. What? Am I about to see an HRE Ram Rush in the Field Age? Why, yes. Yes, I think I am. And we were just talking about how strong the HRE's early game economy is, but how unwilling people are to risk it for the biscuit. But here he is. Lenok says, I love hobnobs. I'll take 10. That's a biscuit for anyone who's unaware. Yes, that is the type of names we give to our biscuits in the UK. Feel free to mock. The Spearman's starting to push. Is this just going to be a Zerg of Spearman? Oh my god, that could actually work. So the reason that can actually work is because if you're doing it like blind on what your opponents like to go, the most common composition for a Delhi player is racks and stables when you're against HRE. Without a doubt, because you're always worried that your opponent could push man-at-arms, so you just play mass melee clump. And the funny part is, like, although he hasn't built his second military infrastructure building, he built double blacksmith. This is going to put BC behind in terms of resource allocation at the beginning here. You can see he's switching up now and getting the archery range, but he's already stepped behind in the cost of these blacksmiths. And they will pay dividends in the coming minutes, but now here's the awkward part. Like, as soon as you do this, like, he knew it as well. Leenock baited him. Spearman first, man-at-arms wave next, and you've just discounted his hand entirely. Because the man-at-arms can trade well against the horsemen, and of course the spearman can easily take out horses. The archers can only trade well against spears. And with this move, Leenock should actually have control of the fights. Now, one annoying thing is the archers are ranged, it's very hard to gap close, but the important detail now for Leenock is he's building up a critical mass to try and siege the base. He went for an early blacksmith. He went triple racks. Folks, this is not a castle boomer. This is an outright feudal aggression. And I think this might be the play. I think he might be playing this perfectly. Horseman trying to raid in. Good luck with that. Will be chased away. Now, the one annoying detailed composition that Leenock's gone with is like he doesn't have an ability to react on multiple fronts. He can't like just switch the aggression on and off. If BC makes a move with Horseman, he's going to feel obliged to react. Until he reaches a stage where he's at critical mass. Once he's at critical mass, he can just ignore it, get idle time on his villagers, but know it's valuable because he'll be able to dive into his opponent's base. And that's why he's starting to move forward now. Horseman come out. Uh-oh. Not a fight you want. His early man-at-arms are still quite chunky here. Stable units not going to be able to handle them well. Sacred Site draws aggression towards it. Buys time for the outpost to get the upgrade, which does mean that Leenock doesn't have the shortest route towards BC's base, but he can now deny equity on those central sacred sites. The Wolves are even assisting. Now Leenock, will he transition at all? Will he try and step back into an eco-focus, or is it going to be all-out military aggression? I think he's going to invest in the military. I think Leenock will try to scale up to at least 40 military units, and they don't have a hard choice. Do I go for a ram rush, or do I just chill and castle up? Because the funny part about this composition is if you choose to just castle up, they become equally, like, not equally, increasingly threatening. Because you've got man-at-arms that will go to increased health, they'll have better effective HP. They'll also get access to all these unique techs. They'll get their hands on the heavy maces, the two-handed weapons. You'll be able to counter out everything. And then you'll be able to layer in like a thin line of Langsneck to just round out your DPS. I think Leenock is playing this well. Really well, actually. Now, BC's never going to run out of resources to build this army. The problem is he's never going to get the gold. So he has to go into gold manually. And that's going to slow down his economy. And now look at this. The moment you don't show up in the midfield, look what Leenock can do. Because Leenock knows what you're up to. He's got your number. He's marching in, and he just might spot your eco. And even if you garrison them, they won't last long. That is 16 man-at-arms incoming. 3 spearmen as well. Looks to gap close upon him. BC retreats away. Garrison's in the outpost, but now you surround him. Now you just go in. Uh-oh. And Leenock got the resources for the tech-up. Oh, no. No. BC's a mile behind. Villagers are going to retreat. They'll bail on this. That's going to set him back further. He could have just went for all the sheep, but he didn't want to deplete them too fast. He played risky eco. He thought maybe he could be the slippery sausage. Maybe he could be the one keeping Leenock on the defensive, but that is not how this plays out. Leenock able to get the tech up, able to get the midfield aggression, able to deny the sacred sites as well. BC is getting nothing this game. And he's kind of hard stuck now. Don't be deceived, like 32 military to the 23, you have to do it this way. Like, it's all about zerging when you're playing as the Delhi. You need to overwhelm through sheer numbers. You don't have quality units, but you have quality production rates via the garrisoning scholars. The problem here is in this specific matchup, because of the way Leonok played it, he doesn't care. His quality units are being pushed in a quantitative amount that is able to hold you back and take every fight. Watch this. Look at these man-at-arms. Look how long it takes to kill them. Look how much damage is done to these horsemen already. It's not good trades. Leonok can't find any. And just as soon as he gets the Sacred Site, the only reason he gets it is because Leonok doesn't care. Tech up complete. Ragnar's Cathedral is going to enable him further when he picks up those relics. Frelt's already moving out. Tech up should be on the way, not far away. In fact, 15 seconds out for the man-at-arms upgrade. Uh-oh. Damn. Leonok's HRE is the boogeyman to the deli, folks. Wololo. Beastie has to back away. Man-at-arms in position will be able to protect, and now that they're chunked up into Castle Age form, the damage has increased. Good luck killing the Prelate. Yeah, good luck with that. Every time I watch man-at-arms chasing like this, I just like to imagine they go, oi, 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 oi. Just like they've got their batons out, like they're kind of old-school British policemen. I know it's the HRE, but it's fitting because, you know, English man-at-arms fits either way, at least until these guys get their maces and two-handeds, then they are no longer English. This was like a gut punch for Beastie. Still playing catch-up entirely right now. Struggling. Scholar count is looking good, and this can be a recovery point in these fights for the Deli. My concern is Leonok is approaching a point where his damage output might be high enough to just offset the healing. And that was why they moved Herbal Medicine back in Age, by the way, because of that exact detail. Because when it was coming in Feudal, it allowed people to offset all the damage you could output. But now you're reaching a point where there's enough damage coming in, these Scholars won't be good enough on their own. Not in this quantity anyway. And there's a breach point coming. If I was BC, I'd delete the wall and leave out the other side. And there it is. He's going to build the gate to leave. Scholars are like, let me out, let me out. And he realizes that just delete the wall and run. The Scholars, though. The Scholars, the Scholars. Oi, puppy, no. The Sacred Sites release control, but not for long. Decap coming in from Leonok. These man-at-arms, they run faster. These Scholars move slower at 1.12. They're also slowing down the Archer's retreat. 2 might be going down. That's going to be a heavy cost, a heavy delay, because remember, they take 45 seconds to produce each. Oh, mamacita, the formation shuffle, the jiggle might just save them. Wait, what? Beastie? What? Oops. Oopsie. All right, Leroy Jenkins going in. This is never stopping as well, because this is your worst nightmare. This is how you play HRE. This is why I've been trying to encourage people into the man-at-arms spam in the Feudal Age. You delay your Castle Age, but you build up a sizable force that gets heavily stacked and then juiced up once you unlock Castle, and that's what's happened here. Beastie is panicking right now. He's trying to peel off in every direction. He's like, okay, this is no longer our home. Archers go down. Woodline's going to have to pull back. Food is shifting elsewhere. They're being chased all across the map right now. And the wall low. Whoop. Okay, yeah. Enjoy the one man-at-arms. I don't think it's going to make a difference. And I'll be taking that relic. Thank you very much. Oh, my God. 23. BC has 23 idle eco, right? Half of his economy is not working. That's some union levels of strikes right there. You can't stay like this for long. Look at his food right now. He's got 15 food income. BC's stuck. He's hard stuck right now. He needs to relieve the pressure somewhere. He's stuck waiting for these man-at-arms to deplete to nothing. Leonok, army shrinking slightly, but still got plenty in the field, in the midfield here. Moves in on top of the Archers, and that's going to be decap on that Sacred Site. Already decapped the southern one. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got, switch up in his spears, because he knows it's just horsemen in the field now. Looks to directly counter them. Beastie, the worst part about this is, like, you needed these Sacred Sites right now more than ever. Before, you at least had working eco all the time. Now you just had a huge gap. You need a recovery, and it's into the stone. It's his own play right now. He got Compound of the Defender, so he can get these hands on the keep for 600 stone, and then research into village fortresses. If he does that, Beastie can recover his game. Because remember, once you get the village fortresses, you can just build up keeps for a lower price than you pay for a town center, but it will function as a better defended town center, able to produce villages. There you go. Will he play it defensive or will he go aggressive? I'm expecting defensive keep, just because you can chain it into your mosques, get the research rates. But in fairness to him, like, BC doesn't have any scholars, so he might just be deterred from doing that. At least he doesn't have any scholars at home. They're too busy running out for relics because he's a greedy boy. He's actually getting all the stone. I think this is a double keep drop. Yeah, I think he's going to drop keeps on the edge here and build his way in. It's actually a good idea in this situation because the men-at-arms won't be able to dive easily against the keeps. And right now, Lenok has shown no signs of going for siege. Instead, he wants to go Imperial. You can see by the numbers. And I think BC knows this because Lenok threw away the man-at-arms and never replaced them. He built some new troops, yes, but mainly spears. So he weakened his aggression to go eco. And I could see BC fully exploiting that. There's plenty of stone. It's risky, but I feel like if you don't do it, you're going to lose the game anyway. Lenok's on his way up now. And there it is, the pull. It's going to be the keep right on the edge here. And that'll allow a crawl in. And even with the tech up, the issue that Lenok will then have is he has to fight tooth and nail to get any resources because there's only one wood line back here. Gold is heavily exploited already. Only 500 remaining. Limited room for farms. It means he's going to have to come out. And that's the purpose of these keeps. You want to constrict your opponent. You want to block them from expanding. Here we go, Beastie. Wants to time it perfectly. Waiting for his moment. His moment to shine. Crawling in right now. There it is. In the blind spot, the outpost's going to go up first. That'll give him vision around to know if he's safe to go for the keep. Elephant's moving across as well. Lenok up in Imperial. Beastie moving in. Keep drop straight away. Lenok is going to see it. Is he going to react fast enough here? Already 20% done. He hasn't moved. He's moving away. He's moving away from it. Lenok. Did he realize? I'm not even sure he realized. If he did, why not go and dive for this? You need to stop this from going up. This could shut your eco down before it gets online. Like, keep in mind, Lenok and BC are neck and neck on eco right now. They both lost a few villages here and there. Oh, no, no, no. No, this is not how you play it. You're locked in. He lets it go up. That's one keep. BC can now go into the mining camp if he wants, or he can get the second keep, and there it is. Drops it first. 600 stone. Makes it very affordable. And now you are in trouble town, Lenok, with very limited space. Yes, he gets access to the Palace of Swabi, the Love Hotel that functions as 3 TCs bundled into one with a group package with a 66% discount. But it's not going to count for much from now. Not with the double keep, not with the elephants able to dive in. And with you with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. More elephants coming as well. Beastie, you miraculous son of a gun. I think he's turned this around. Skulls will be able to guard up against the elephants. In the meantime, villagers can pull back and look to get on the stone. It's Elephanto fun time in the German base here. Lenok trying to gap close on the elephant baiting him into the static defenses, and that is going to be an absolute bloody massacre. Even garrisons the elephant inside. Now, you're probably wondering how you get an elephant through the front doors of that keep. A lot of butter. A lot of butter, a lot of KY jelly on the door frame. Either that, or you paint a Kool-Aid Man logo on the side of the elephant and scream, oh yeah. I can't believe after all that he didn't even get the elephant. Bombard's at least coming out. Siege Workshop's big here. He needs to keep it alive. It looks like BC is going to back up for the moment. Calms down. Forward infrastructure being built though. Siege Workshop. That'll get him into Springles to counter out the Bombards, and that's when you're in trouble if you're Lenok, because you've still got 2 keeps to get through. Eco lead barely building for Lenok. Elephants going deeper. Uh-oh, 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 oh no! Oh yeah! Hope you like elephants. Plenty of villagers here, but they're not here to gather from this natural predator. You'd think it would drop some food when it dies, but no. First keep goes down though. Lenok trying to get out of this fast. BC pushing the Springles now, but he needs to get repair crew. This keep will fall. BC, he hasn't gone the stone just yet. He moved on to his own instead. So never stole it away from Lenok's side of the map. keep is going to go down. A long way away from having village fortresses as well, so this is an annoying situation for him. Leanok in the meantime starting to build up a defense force, doubling up the counter military pop cap that BC has. BC needs to make these elephants last. Up to 5. Sprinkles now coming out. Sprinkles will be able to deter the bombards away. Needs to be careful though, because these Sprinkles do not have additional range over the bombards. So they can be sniped out. Those Sprinkles are rolling up right now, and oh, Leanok notices. No freebies given over by Leanok, but BC making a generous donation to the HRE Foundation. As both Sprinkles go down, villagers pulled here, and the block, the villagers will do nothing. Oh, BC, no! It was a good plan, but there just wasn't any backbone to support it. Like a straw man strategy at the end. The keeps were good, but once the bombards come out, you need horsemen, you need something to counter. But Leanok had his number. Spearmen alone to deal with the elephants would counter out any horseman rush in. And Springles, as we highlighted, you just can't match up like that. You need double the amount of Springles to bombards here. Bombards having more health than Springles. All of a sudden, BC now losing complete control of this game. And the reason you build Spim in the situation for Leanok is because you need all your gold. Look, he's got, so some people questioning why Leanok would go for Spim in here because they don't do well against elephants. I agree. Horsemen do better. But his eco is suffering. Look at his incomes. He couldn't use half his farms. His gold is locked to just his Regnitz Cathedral. He needs all the gold he can get for the bombard, so he can't go for man-at-arms. And then, in terms of his food being so low, horsemen is great, but they cost a lot more. And also, you don't have the infrastructure set up for that. You have racks instead. So the reason he plays into spears is because it's a cost-effective cannon fodder. He just needs a front line. He needs some sort of buffer to keep his opponent off his bombards. Because as we know, it's been proven in the wildlife of Age of Empires 4 time and time again, cannon beat elephant. I mean, I don't know how BC gets back from this now. He is really hard stuck. He never got the village fortresses, so he can't eco boom up. If he at least had that, it'd be different. It's why I thought the first keep was going to be dropped in his own base, because he could have researched it at an increased rate by banking scholars inside. Oh boy. Well, Leanok is here, and Leanok is hungry. And if you walk towards this, you do so walking towards your own death. Bombards will back up once they see 1,000,001 spears and cannons coming from out the tree line. An intimidating sight if I've ever seen one. If I was an elephant, I'd run too. But I'm putting on quite that many pounds across the last 2 years, so I don't really categorize an elephant just yet. We'll get there though. Just need my sub count to increase so I can afford all the chocolates. Scholars going down. Horseman pull. Repair crew is here. These bombards should not die. Leanok should be fine. There it is. Repair comes out. Horsemen do nothing. And you are on the clock, Beastie. But don't worry. Leanok wants to make sure you don't get any overtime. Doesn't want to give you additional time to build up a counter. Beastie fully unleashed now. Or Leanok rather fully unleashed. Beastie we unleashed from this game, you could say. When he's kicked out of it. Because Leanok is inflating his eco by quite a substantial count. 33 up. Or look at another way. Beastie's now 33 down. It's starting to get worse. Spearman pushing in. Keeping the elephants at bay. This is the push. This is the only option that you have if you're Beastie. You have to go after him right now. If you cannot get rid of those bombards, you are dead. That's why he commits in. Villagers just keeping it alive, trying to keep the bombards up. Oh, they can't do it. They're going to be brought down. Leanok's going to be pushed back. BC looking to recover. But in the meantime, all the skulls are going to be massacred. And after that, the defenses that coming through, the cannon upgrades are going to be a bigger problem for BC because even if he stabilizes for a second here, the stability point is these cannon emplacements that he cannot ram down now as they're coming through. Oh my god, and one Culverin left over. Wall attempt. Leanok, pull back, Leanok! He's fine. That was admittedly getting tight though. And GG's gonna get called. BC, as soon as the cannon upgrades come through, nope! Get me out of there. For good reason as well. Loses 1,000,001 skulls on the backside, which means he can't even efficiently use what remains. And Leenock, what a way to turn this about. Beastie. Yo, this was swings and roundabouts. Leenock grabbed him by the gonads early. Beastie gets his claw grip ready, grabs him by the gonads, and then it's just a race to squeeze. And in that race, Leenock at some point, I don't know what it was, maybe Beastie's ticklish under the arms, but he let up on that grip. He wasn't able to follow through the keep crawl, and it was all too easy for Leenock, once relieved of that pressure, to obliterate the Delhi still stuck in Castle H.